Today, we're diving into one of the biggest game changers in making AI something we can actually rely on. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. We're going to see how this awesome technique is giving AI a perfect, verifiable memory.
So let's start with a question that's probably on your mind. Why do these incredibly advanced AI chatbots sometimes just make stuff up? You know the feeling, right? You ask a straightforward question, and you get back this beautifully written, super confident sounding answer that is completely and utterly wrong. This isn't just a weird quirk, it's a massive roadblock for any business that needs answers it can trust.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into AI's core memory problem. Then we'll see how RAG gives it an open book to work from. After that, we'll look at how that book gets built, check out some real-world examples, and finally, peek into the future with something called Smart RAG. Okay, let's jump right in with this crisis of confidence. To really get why RAG is such a big deal, you first have to understand the built-in limits of today's large language models, LLMs. This slide really just nails the paradox of modern AI. Over on the left, you've got this incredible linguistic power. These things can write, they can code, they can translate. It's amazing. But then you look at the right side and you see the huge reliability problem. Their knowledge is frozen in time, they have no clue about your company's private data, and worst of all, they have a tendency to just invent things. And this habit of inventing things actually has a name: hallucination. And here's the kicker: it's not really a bug, it's more of a feature of how they're built. Their main job is just to predict the next word that sounds right, not the next word that's factually right. For a business, an AI that confidently makes up a legal clause or a medical fact isn't just useless, it's downright dangerous. So, if that's the fundamental problem, how in the world do we fix it? Well, this is where the really elegant solution of retrieval augmented generation steps in. Honestly, this is the absolute best way to think about it. A normal LLM is basically taking a closed book test. It can only use what it managed to memorize during its training. RAG completely flips that. It turns it into an open book exam. It gives the AI a whole library of trusted, up-to-date facts and says, hey, before you answer, look it up in here first. It's a simple idea, but it changes everything.
So this whole open book thing happens in 3 super quick steps. First, when you ask your question, the system retrieves only the relevant snippets from that trusted knowledge base. Then it augments your original question by stuffing that factual context right in there. And finally, it tells the LLM to generate an answer, but, and this is the most important part, it's instructed to only use the information it was just handed. The AI is now grounded in your reality, summarizing facts instead of making things up.
But of course, for the AI to have a library, someone has to build that library first. And that happens through a really important behind-the-scenes process called the data ingestion pipeline. Building this knowledge library really comes down to 4 key steps. First, you gather up all your trusted data. Think PDFs, company wikis, databases, the whole shebang. Second, you chunk it, which just means breaking down huge documents into smaller, paragraph-sized pieces. Third, and this is where the real magic happens, you vectorize it. You use another AI to turn the meaning of each chunk into a long list of numbers. Finally, you index all those numbers in a special kind of database so you can search them in a flash. So, why turn words into numbers? Well, because in this weird numerical world, concepts that are similar are actually located close to each other. So the numbers for cat and feline and kitten will all be neighbors in one part of the database, while car and truck will be way over in a different neighborhood. This is a huge deal because it means the AI can search for concepts and ideas, not just exact keywords.
Okay, that's enough of the theory. Let's get to the good stuff. How is RAG actually being used right now to make a real difference for businesses?
One of the absolute killer apps for RAG is creating what you could call an enterprise brain. Just imagine all of a company's knowledge, all the HR docs, the tech manuals, the marketing strategies, all instantly searchable through one smart conversation. We all know the before picture, right? You're digging through some ancient SharePoint, typing in keywords, and getting a million useless results. It's a nightmare. Now picture the after. An employee just asks, what are the steps to set up my VPN on a new laptop? And gets a perfect step-by-step answer pulled straight from the latest IT guide. The impact is immediate. people find what they need instantly, and those endless support tickets just disappear.
All right, let's raise the stakes a bit. Let's talk about a field like legal research, where one tiny mistake can have massive consequences. Accuracy isn't just nice to have, it's everything.
For a lawyer sifting through thousands of documents, the motto is trust but verify. RAG is perfect for this. It doesn't just spit out an answer and say, trust me. It provides citations. It shows its work, pointing you to the exact page and paragraph it used. That audit trail, that ability to check the source, is what finally builds the confidence to use AI for work that really, truly matters. But the story doesn't end there. The technology is already evolving. The next generation, which people are calling smart RAG or agentic RAG, goes way beyond being a simple lookup tool. It's becoming a system that can actually reason about how to find the best information. This slide shows the huge leap we're taking. On the left, you have basic RAG. It's a one-way street: query, retrieve, generate. If that first search isn't great, your final answer won't be either. But on the right, you have agentic RAG. It's a dynamic loop. An AI agent is like a little researcher. It can think, it can act by picking a tool, and it can observe the results before deciding what to do next. So what can these agents actually do? Well, for one, they can reason. They can take a complicated question and break it down into smaller, easier questions. They can use multiple tools, maybe query your vector database for one piece of info, then a traditional database for another. And this is the coolest part: they can self-correct. If a search comes up empty, the agent can literally say, that didn't work. Let me try rephrasing my question, just like a person would. So when you boil it all down, RAG is way more than just a clever technical trick. It is the bridge that finally connects the incredible creative power of these large language models with the real-world factual knowledge that we all rely on. By grounding AI in reality, we're doing more than just stopping it from lying. We're unlocking a whole new level of capability. The question really isn't if AI can be trusted anymore, it's what amazing problems are we going to solve now that it can be.